Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, small law firm in central Minnesota. How we doing, guys? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. We are here. We are here for, I don't know, general law generacy. Law generacy is not degenerate, though. It's like it's generative like an AI. The etymology of law generacy doesn't make any sense. Look, we're here. Here's the reality. I have stories from earlier in the week I didn't get around to covering. We're way behind on Supreme Court oral, but like, I can never tell if people actually like listening to the oral arguments at the Supreme Court, mainly because I pause it so damn much that it, because I want to talk about all these different issues that keep popping up with every line. That's the thing with Supreme Court oral. It's so fucking dense. It's so dense that every line, every paragraph, every concept is important, and it's maximized to deliver legal philosophy in the shortest, most impactful brevity that exists. And the reason that is because you take your best arguments from the district court level or the trial court level, then you go to the appellate court level. You take all of those, you make better arguments, you consolidate it, you bring in more authority, you go deeper, you make better analogies, you do synthesis that you didn't do before. You start bringing in other concepts. And amicus briefs start coming in. People start contributing to this thing. So you round out your argument. It gets better. Then if that gets denied, you might get an en banc review. Then and the whole time you're getting feedback from judges who are telling you the problems with your argument, the problems with your, the reasons that they're not granting your request. And you have this wall to throw the hand grenade against one more time, right? And so then you get to by the time you get to the Supreme Court, you've already made substantively all of the arguments. You've researched, you've brought up the cases, you've brought them to the courts, you've heard what the courts have criticized. You may know where the judges are wrong. You may know where their legal biases are impacting them. You may know how to overcome their objections. And then you bring that to the Supreme Court. And again, more people are dumping in more information as the case gets more and more important. So by the time you get to oral arguments as the president of the United States, or the lawyer representing the president, former president of the United States, who's the first felony indicted president in the history of the country. And you say, okay, here's why this president should have criminal immunity, something that doesn't exist in American jurisprudence, but seems to exist in the inferred jurisprudence related to civil immunity, and also the general practical application of law in the fact that no presidents in the past 250 years or whatever have actually been charged this way. When you get there, you've got all of the research has been done. All of the legwork has been done. What you're left with is a hybrid of Greg Abbott and Stephen Hawking roll arguments. It is the most refined silver that you can put into the jewelry, right? Emphasis on jewelry. And you're going to put that before the judges and say, here it is. This is the argument. And which means you're going to be condensing everything. You're going to make every statement matter, answering every question to the best way you can. In theory, and some people fail to execute this, obviously, but in theory, that's what you're doing. And so all of these statements bring in all of this legal philosophy, all of this synthesis, all of these analogies and comparisons. It brings in the social sort of policy aspects of it. Every bit of the law is weighed on both sides against this theme, which means that every fucking word, every sentence, every pause matters, not to the judges. The judges are already deciding on the writings, but it matters in the manifestation of what the argument is. And that's really crazy to me. And I know other people don't see it that way. because they're like, oh, some retarded lawyers up in front of 9 other retarded lawyers who are jerking off like 18 retarded law clerks. And I just don't care because it's slow and boring. But I end up pausing the fucking video a billion times a second because I'm like, wow, that matters, that matters, that matters, that matters. And I want to talk about it. I want to expand the concepts because I'm, mentally handicapped in that way, in the way that I cannot not talk about things. So that's why it takes me forever to get through oral arguments at the Supreme Court. So I have that video. I'm not planning on doing that. Well, audio. Not planning on doing that. It's long and tedious, which is the title of my sex tape. It's cumbersome. I think it's insightful. I think it's useful. I love exploring the issues, but it takes a while. However, in getting distracted by tangents that I want to, talk about or rant on or really have my interest, I did have a bunch of stories that also had my interest that I did not pull up throughout the week. And yesterday, as I had several stories ready to go, instead I brought on Joe, Good Logic, because a rumor had it he wanted to pop on this show for some reason. And since he was available, we brought him in rather than doing the original topic. So I have all of those. I have a couple others. I have a new one for you. A Wisconsin elementary school teacher, 24 years old, busted for making out with a 5th grader 3 months before her wedding. That's right. That's a Wisconsin butter queen, 24 years old, just making out with a 5th grader. That's 10 to 11 if you're keeping track. And, having a nice text conversation with how mature the 5th grader is, all sorts of weird shit. How many years of deferred sentence probation do you think this woman's going to get? You think she's going to go to prison for like 12 years? Again, reverse the genders and see what happens. It's this wild disparity where specifically female teachers, female educators, because of like this is a weird thing. These fat hairy bitches complain about the patriarchy or whatever. The real patriarchal shit that happens is stuff like this, where women are given deference due to the symbology of a judge who's like 75 and has this old code where women must be treated differently and held up. Like, look, people who do that, like treat women differently and hold them up, that's fine. Like there are circumstances where you want to treat the other gender in a specific way. Like if you're trying to have sex with them, you want to do certain things. If you're married to one of them, you want to elevate that person. Like you want to put them in a different position than someone else. Maybe several positions, okay? Like you might want to do that. You're going to treat them differently. But under the law, when you're a judge, when you're going through this, the statutes are written in such a way that they're supposed to be facially neutral to gender, which means you're supposed to treat men and women equally, but it doesn't work out that way. If you look at the family courts and the history of the family courts, even in facially gender or sex neutral states where their statutes do not recognize which party can or should receive deference on child support or spousal support, what you find is men overwhelmingly are charged spousal support against women. Not in Minnesota. Spousal support is not prevalent in Minnesota. It's actually presumptively not applicable. And then child support, though, it used to be something like 85% of child support cases were awarded to women. Not just like the reason being is because the women were awarded the primary physical custody of the children in most of the cases. Now, why? Well, because women be taking care of kids or whatever. Just ask Chicago. There's no men around taking care of them kids, them damn kids. But that is a sort of patriarchal notion of these judges who are 75, 80 years old, adhering to this idea from long ago, not realizing that these hoes be lying sometimes and that you need to take a gender neutral approach. Minnesota has required gender neutrality in the application of child support and parenting time, and yet it still favors women overall. I mean, we should expect that. We can recognize that. We can work towards making it better, but please do that. But the place where this disparity seems to exist the most is somewhere in this idea of public school teachers being sexually inappropriate with children who are their students, where male teachers are appropriately sentenced to decades, inappropriately not sentenced to death. They should have to suffer death at the hands of Helga, the 900-pound, boulder that blocked the tomb of Joseph where Christ was buried, right? Like a bunch of Romans walked up and were like, God, we can't even move this fat bitch. And then angels came down. They're like, oh my God. And they pushed her out of the way so Jesus could walk out. And he's like, that's a big bitch. That, like, you know what I'm talking about. Them huge women. They get this deference because they're female, because they're women, and because judges want to eat pancakes or whatever. And then if a guy is, So I was saying that the guy teachers who do this should be killed by Helga by being, shoved inside of her meat pocket or whatever until they suffocate. That's what they should do. That's an appropriate death. But they really just get decades in prison. Female teachers who do this often get probation, house arrest. I mean, they may end up on a registry or two, but they're not going to a prison. They're going home. They get an ankle monitor. They get 18 months of supervised probation. Oh, well, don't molest any more children for 12 months and we'll let you off the hook. And you're like, what the fuck is like, and no, you don't want the men to be treated equal to the women. You want the women to be treated equal to the men, except plus a wood chipper for both of them. So it's American Widgeon says meat pocket. Oh, think about it, brother. It's a pocket for your meat. But no, we want these people punished. To me, I don't like the government. I don't like laws. I don't like restrictions on people. But one thing I do like that the government does, one thing I'm always like, you know what, government? I see you, baby. I see you, baby. The one thing I'm like, when someone molests a child and the government actually comes in and is like, I'm sorry, are you a dog? I'm the ATF. Blam, 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 stop barking. And they just put the fucker down. I do not want mercy for child harming people from the government. The government's there. Sorry. No mercy. Put them down. And it's weird that we don't just do that because one, their recidivism is more harmful than anyone else's, also more likely. And two, their original crimes are so overwhelmingly devastating that I would actually advocate, that a child rapist effectively kills the person that is there. And just because a child biologically lives, the level of trauma that they endure is similar in concept to an actual murder. And so therefore, I believe that child rapists should be eligible for the death penalty wherever it is sold, in whatever retail store you can find it. And I don't care if it's death by snoo or death by fucking soccer ball to the goddamn testicles until they pass out and die. There is no unacceptable death for child rapists to me. The funnier, the better. I want a reality TV show based on it. Be funny how many police officers and educators would be in that list. Like, hello, you're the next contestant on Your Price is Not High Enough. What are you going to do? Well, what are you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. Aren't you the person on video touching 11-year-olds? You're a 24-year-old teacher. Choose your fortune. She's like, oh, I would like deferred adjudication and probation. Nope. I'm sorry. What we have here is a pile of lava. Get the fuck in it, bitch. Cook her. She's done. Go away. You're out of society forever. Zephiel says 20-year-old and 16-year-old child rapists. You know what? It's a really interesting concept there because several states have implemented those sort of statutes. Minnesota, I don't know if Minnesota still is. I don't practice criminal sexual misconduct cases here. I don't want to. They're fucking soul crushing. Minnesota used to have a graduated statutory age of consent system where when you are, I think 13 and 14-year-olds had 1 year plus minus. So a 13-year-old could sleep with a 14-year-old effectively. 14-year-old could sleep with a 15-year-old effectively, something like that. And then once they hit 15 years old, they had a -2 year, something like, so 15 could sleep with a 13. I don't know. I'm explaining this wrong, but there's like a 1 year thing, a 2 year thing, and then a 4 year thing. Once you hit 16, you effectively had consent up to age or statutory ability to consent up to age 20, or the 20-year-old could consent to a 16-year-old, and then a 21-year-old could consent to a 17-year-old. That's how it went. Now, other states do it differently. A shitload of states in the United States still have an age of consent of 16. U.S. states with age of consent at 16. There are 31 states where the age of consent is 16. Is that surprising to you guys? Now, again, that's only within the state. It's really, age of consent laws in the United States are so fucking weird. Let's pull up the goddamn map. Not that kind. Those maps belong on fucking walls. Here we go. But this is an interesting sort of concept. So here we have this map. Yes, I know. Minimum age is 16. Here you go. All the blue states here, not to be confused with Democrat states, the minimum age of consent is 16. That's a majority of the country, obviously, because 31 is a majority of 50. Then you have 17. All these gold states, not that many. And then you have 18, which is just these green states. Again, not that many. The majority consensual age is 16. The federal age of consent is 18, but that requires an actual federal jurisdiction, which typically means you have to do something to invoke federal law rather than state law. Soliciting a child to engage in, or a minor to engage in sexual intercourse across state lines using an electronic communication device, right? So if you're like one of these weird Twitch streamers who then is like, hey, boo, bae, what's up? Can you send me your ASL? And if you're, like a Discord mod who tries to have sex with a child, because like all of those do that. Like the actual employees of Discord, the ones who run Discord, who moderate Discord, who like do the coding in Discord, all of those people who notoriously like to wear fursuits and fuck children, all of them, like when they use Discord, which is an internet service, to send messages to children that the Discord mods want to have sex with, like they're committing a federal crime if they're under 18. But if they were within their own state and they were just sending them notes in class or whatever, they might not be committing a crime. So it gets really wonky with federal and state law. But look at all these states that say 16 is the age of consent. Now, let me asterisk that. They don't do it here, but the age of consent being 16 in many of these states is nuanced, where it's not just a flat 16. You typically have some sort of caveat. It's 16, but it's limited in on the upward level, right? It's like 4 years up or something, like I mentioned earlier. Or it's 16, but with parental consent, which should be fucking strange. Could you imagine that? Like, hey, mom, look, I'm going to prom. She's 23. I found her outside the drugstore. She had needles in her arms. She wore scarlet begonias, though, tucked into her curls. The curls being her legs after the, after the crippling, I don't want to say the disease that they have because it's horrible. But yeah, so they're in a wheelchair, mom, so I don't even need to bring a cool car to prom. I'll just ride along in her wheelchair. Like, mom, I need to have consent to have sex with this 23-year-old. I'm 16. And a 23-year-old comes in and is like Stephen Hawking, like, hello, ma'am. I would like to have sex with your mutant little midget doing math on a high-rise ladder. And it's weird, right? Like, this very fucking strange. This idea of consent with parental consent. Oh, you get, okay. It's a tangent, but this is related. Courtney Stodden. I talked about this before. Courtney Stodden was like a 15 or 16-year-old. I think she's from Kentucky or Tennessee. And she ended up marrying like a 54-year-old guy. It's the Nazi neighbor who beats his wife and kid from American Beauty. The closeted gay who tries to kiss and fuck Kevin Spacey. And when Kevin Spacey turns him down, he goes over to his house with a 38 and he just shoots Kevin Spacey in the fucking head. Remember that guy? Like, he's like, yeah, those faggots suck. And then he actually is one. Like that guy, the actor, though, not the character, the characters in the movie, but the actor, he actually went and married like a 15-year-old named Courtney Stodden, and he got her parents' consent. And you're like, hold up. So you're like 54 years old, and you roll into this teenager's house, and you're like, you literally have like Barbie posters on the wall or whatever. I'm going to ask your parents if I can marry you, implying that I really, really want to have legal sex with you. That's weird as fucking hell. And he does it, and they say yes. They're like, actually, she's a hoe anyway. Like, I don't know how that answer goes. What parents like, you know what? We're good with it. Like the guy that the whole Vic Mignogna thing started with a misidentification of Ilyich Guardiola, right? The famous American dub voice actor who's having sex with a minor that was employed by Funimation that everybody knew about. It was the open secret. That's the actual open secret. It's just that Han Leia, who talked about Vic, was too fucking retarded when she hit her head or whatever, and she mixed up Ilyich Guardiola, who's actually fucking a minor, and then applied that to Vic Mignogna, who wasn't fucking anybody for whatever reason. And Ilyich Guardiola ended up having to ask this girl's parents for consent to marry her, and married the minor so that the sex became like legal, I guess. It actually didn't become legal, but she couldn't be compelled to testify against him because she's a minor. Or wait, no, because she's a spouse. There's spousal privilege. And like, you're like, what parent is like, actually, well, you know what? Anime voice actors are a really big deal. I guess I consent. Oh my God, she's on her way to the big time. No, she wasn't. She wasn't ever on her way to the big time. She's on her way to like a trailer with a fucking microphone in a closet with suits hanging, and suits are embarrassing. They're from like, Goodwill or whatever. I cannot imagine the parent that does this. I cannot imagine the parent who someone comes up and is like, I would like to marry and have sex with your minor child. And the parent's like, you know what? Okay. No. Why is that a thing? Why is that real? Tom Colby says Jerry Lee Lewis married a 13-year-old. You know what he should have married? 13-year-old aged arsenic. That's what he should have done. Not only was it a 13-year-old, it was also his cousin or whatever. Just guillotine his ass. The French are less weird than Jerry Lee Lewis. That's strange. But they have this concept of parental consent to overcome like statutory rape. And you're like, what parent is consenting to this? This is very odd to me. I don't get it. But anyway, this is the thing. 31 states. The majority of US states have an age of consent of 16. We always think the age of consent is 18. But overwhelmingly, it's not, especially when you consider the age of consent of 17 states. It becomes mostly under 18, which is weird. But again, excuse me, going to the federal level, we have that. But you know what is never in the age of consent? Getting back to the topic. 10 and 11-year-olds for 24-year-old female school teachers. But 24-year-old female school teachers groping, making out, and having inappropriate conversations with 10 and 11-year-olds will be less harshly treated than, they'll be less harshly treated than the fucking ghost gun guy, right? Who hired the 16-year-old prostitute off of the Sugar Daddy's Meet website, where she told him she was 18, uploaded a fake ID, all that stuff. He's like, well, she looks a little young, but probably 18. Dude, bro. Like, really? I don't know, man. She's pretty young. But that guy wasn't treated with like the kid. He got a good negotiation by his lawyers eventually. But seriously, like that guy was lied to by the person according to his argument. I don't think a teacher's like, no, this 11-year-old gave me a fake ID. I thought they were 18. They're in my 5th grade class, but I'm pretty sure they were just really retarded and held back. There's no excuse. Like, at least you can go to the one guy and be like, I guess you got hoodwinked because you're on a website where you have to be 18 plus and you have to affirm it and you have to upload a fake ID or whatever. It's like, no, she looked 18. All the cops are like, all right. But at least he has an argument. But this shit could be treated probably better than that guy will. And it's weird that we allow this stuff, that this is the way these things pan out. So anyway, I've got that case, that topic to discuss. But I actually have a bunch of other ones that we were talking. West Virginia middle school students barred from the track meet after protesting transgender athletes' inclusions. Did you guys see this? That was where a male to female trans. So we can translate that as someone with superior aerobic and athletic ability to launch a shot put goes into a female shot put competition, throws the ball as hard as fucking hell, and then a bunch of actual females come up to do their thing, and they just walk, like they step into the circle and they walk out and protest. Like, no, we're not going to do this. This isn't fair. Well, now they're being disciplined. Sorry, fairness doesn't exist. You must accept the diversity and beauty of these trans people. And you're like, I haven't seen many beautiful trans people. By many, I mean, conceptually, there could be one out there somewhere. Dirk Diggler says, these are the topics you came up with. I don't know, man. A lot of people are interested in the transes and the women's sports. We also have Ken Paxton suing the ATF over the new gun sale requirements. Very important. We have Stormy Daniels' lawyer testifying in the Trump hush money testimony. Trump trying to get the classified records case thrown out. He cites Biden in selective prosecution, which is a really tough standard of proof that he probably can't win. We've got hush money payment being presented as extortion. Supreme Court securing a win for Greg Abbott. This is Greg Abbott's personal quest to remove Pornhub and Brazzers and all of the other pornographic websites owned by ALO and others, because when Greg Abbott reaches down for his dick, it doesn't ever feel anything. And then finally, we have this other case, this other story where a gun shop owner reacts to new credit codes in gun purchases in Colorado. And he compares it to 1984 George Orwell, because effectively Colorado passed a law that requires a certain credit signature for gun purchases. So it allows the government to track a gun purchase, which I don't want to be on a government list because I buy something that's legal to buy. Other people might, but I don't. But that's the thing. Nick loves free Peach says, Nick, you claim Montegraph never asked you to take back what you said when he asked you in Super Chat to take it back while Megan Fox was around. Look, I said in the legal process or through his lawyer or whatever official. Like, if you send me a $1 Super Chat, and he said, here's the exact words he said, I believe. Very close, if not right. He said, take down all of the videos in which you defamed me. Well, which are those, Monty? That's not actually a request for retraction. I don't know if you know this. Like, if you just say, retract all your defamatory statements, someone is then left to decide what statements they made defamed the person who's requesting. If I say, I want you to tell me every date you think you felony beat me, and then you start listing off dates, you're admitting to felony beating me on those dates. I didn't defame Montegraph at all. So if you asked me to retract all or take down all the streams which I defamed him, I did, because I didn't take down any of them. But if you think I defamed you and you want me to take it down, or you're asking or demanding for a retraction or negotiating a retraction, you got to tell me what defamatory thing I need to take down, not just all defamatory statements need to be removed and all streams need to be removed. Yeah, fist yourself, Monty, you fucking weirdo. So here we go. Shut Up, I Can Cook says, hi, Nick. I am having way too much fun. The Supreme Congress, only if Congress holds its neck. Why are people thinking SCOTUS is supreme? They're not. Supreme Court is not under Congress. The Supreme Court is under Article 3 of the Constitution. They have specifically enumerated authorities. Congress has the ability to take some appellate jurisdiction from the Supreme Court and create other courts or alternative courts to handle that, like the FISA court, for example. they can do that. But the Supreme Court has enumerated original jurisdiction on certain issues, and they have appellate jurisdiction on other issues until Congress takes it away. The Noble Weeaboo says just going to ignore HR 6090, allowing a foreign Jew entity to violate the First Amendment and make Christianity illegal. It passed the House vote already. Well, I wasn't going to ignore it. Like someone said HR 6090. I'm like, is that the next NVIDIA graphics card? Like, what is, I don't know. And then they're like, it's Jews. And I'm like, oh, well, I've spent my entire life ignoring Jews. Why would I start now? You want me to talk about it? Here. If Congress passes a law that delegates the authority to ban people or suspend people or restrict their speech to a Jewish agency, then fuck Congress, fuck the Jews, and fuck, the Jews who did that, and then fuck everybody involved. First Amendment doesn't stop at Judaism. The Star of David is not a ward on the First Amendment. It's like, oh, your free speech powers don't work here. We got triangles. We got success angles. We got failure angles, but only a few. Triangles are the most. Like I talked about the weird cucking of both sides of the political spectrum to Jewish interests. I don't get it. I don't get why free speech suddenly ends at like hook noses, slightly curly dark hair, and sandy brown skin. Like I don't get why Palestinian hatred towards a specific person invalidates any criticism of that person, or why we're unable to say, hey, by the way, the interest rates are too damn high. Like if you do that, a bunch of Mossad agents show up at your house and they like put you on a chair and they pick you up and they're like, Hava Nagalia, whatever the thing they say. And then they bounce around on the floor in their robes with tassels until the floor caves in, the building collapses, and then it's blown up by one guy saying Allahu Akbar who snuck in. Like that's, I don't know. I don't know what it is specifically about Israel and Judaism that makes all politicians cower in fear. Look, I like the Jews. They're funny people. They're short. They're easily conquerable. Over and over in the Bible, you find out that all you have to do is like just go in there. Like, we win. And God's like, oh, yep. Actually, these motherfuckers screwed up over and over. They keep fucking up. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be like, oh, you have a king or whatever. Like I told you not to have a king. You dumb faggots didn't listen. I sent that Moses guy up the mountain to have like this cool rules inscribed on some tablets and shit, like early iPads or whatever. He comes back and you've taken all your gold, which is a lot, by the way, melted that shit out of your 6 million teeth, and then you put it, you made a fucking calf out of it. What are you, Hindu? Like, oh, I love the golden calf. No, why are you doing this? That's not me. Like, that's not a proper idol. A proper idol is the American Idol Ryan Seacrest, who is Jesus if he had long hair. Well, if Ryan Seacrest had long hair. God's like, look, I've got backlogs of Jewish mistakes. If you read the goddamn Old Testament, they're like, oh, the land of milk and honey. And I know lead attorneys like super producers are awesome. He's like, lactate me, baby. Like, so he's there in the promised land. He's like, give me them Canaanite big titty bitches. And he's sitting there like just with his mouth up, and they're like, they don't show up. And he's like, what's going on, God? And he's like, oh, yeah, well, don't worry. The Jews are coming behind you. Not the old ones. They have to die first. Then all the young Jews get to come in. Once all the old ones die, COVID didn't happen back then, I guess. Once I kill all the old Jews, including Moses and Aaron and all those other like Levi or whatever, all the old ones with all the names that, you know, like the tribes are named after, they're all going to fucking die. Once they're all dead, all the young Jews with no experience and no idea what they're talking about, except that they chop the hands off women at every instance they can, because that's hilarious, except they can't make sandwiches. But nub sandwiches are good too. The bread gets a little smashed, but they use matzah, so it's not really bread. It's just this cracker anyway. Spread jelly on it and maybe some mint and some like horseradish. It's a gross sandwich. Juicy, gross. Anyway, and they go into the promised land. They kill all the Canaanites because that's actually funny. And then God's like, I'm just waiting for you to screw up. You know why? Because I have a Nebuchadnezzar, the first N-word. Nebuchadnezzar is going to come in and steal your. He's not even going to steal the land. He doesn't go into fucking Judea. He's like, I'm going to go into Judea and hang out and take it over. No, he's like, I'm going to go into Judea. They're like, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to kill a lot of people. What else? There's a bunch of these people. I'm going to just take them out of there. You're going to leave it vacant? Have you seen all the stories about the New York and California squatters? You're the first N-word. You can't have squatters. That's Section 8, bitch. You'll never get them out of there. It's just like, it's fine. It's fine. We're going to take a bunch of these Jews out of here. We're going to take them over there. 400 years. Do you know why? Do you guys remember why the Jews got fucking cucked for 400 years by the Babylonians? The Babylonians. They belong on a Subway sandwich with 2 other meats. The Babylonians cucked the Jews for 400 years. Do you remember why? Because God's like, you don't need a king. You got me, baby. And they're like, no, actually, we want a king. He's like, well, all right, I guess. Take note to self. These guys are fucking dumb. The Lord of creation tells him, by words, you don't need a king. And they're like, no, give us a king. Well, everybody else is a king. Why would you want one of those? They're terrible. Let all the other fucking idiots get screwed over by kings. I'm God. I'm going to protect you. And they're like, no, give us a king instead. And they're like, here you go. Here's Saul. And then David, and then like a Solomon or whatever, who's like, Solomon's like, I'm just going to get rich and fuck bitches and build a temple. And then the Babylonians come in. They just win automatically. It's like, 400 years of exile. Fuck you guys. God, why'd you do this to us? It's like, I didn't. I told you not to have a king. If you didn't have a king, you would have won. The first N-word takes over. It's a weird thing. Why can't we criticize Jews, though? Like, why is that a problem? God criticizes them more than anybody else. Read the Old Testament. They have a rocky existence, and every time God tweets, it's like, trolling you guys hard fucking core. Who do you want to get conquered by next? And then Jews, a remarkably patriarchal society. God has a whole book about how a woman Jew is the one who saves all of them. Esther, right? One of the funniest books of the Bible, by the way. You guys should all read it. It's slapstick comedy, physical comedy. Robin Williams could have played the one like Xerxes' assistant who gets hanged at the end, which makes it very appropriate to be Robin Williams. But he also he trips and falls like Shaq, and instead of dunking, he shoves his face into Esther's vagina while Xerxes is out of the room. This story is in the Bible. It's not even fake. This is the actual story. Xerxes leaves the room for 10 seconds, and the guy who's about to get executed by hanging for the gallows he built for the fucking Jew named Malachi, who's the uncle of Esther, who saved Xerxes' life like 10 years ago from some sort of assassination plot. And so he's like, oh, I owe you my life. And he's like, yeah, I'm a Jew. You owe all the Jews. He's like, I don't like Jews or whatever. So this guy, is it Malachi? I think it's Malachi. He fades into obscurity while Esther's up there being the #1 concubine because she's got that sweet, sweet Jewish twat. And Xerxes is pounding it out on the reg because he's got a whole harem. But he's like, Esther's really fucking hot, though. So she must have been like that one chick from Black Swan, the Jewish one, Natalie Portman. She must have been like Natalie Portman or the other one who was Wonder Woman, I guess. I mean, like the hottest Jew you can imagine, because Xerxes has a contest because his wife leaves him for the black guys. This is in the Bible. His wife, Xerxes, the Persian king of the fucking world, whose wife is like, I'm on top of the world. I'm the greatest woman ever. She's like, but Xerxes is boring. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go cuck Xerxes with a bunch of fucking black guys. All I have to do is saunter a little bit southwest, and I'm in the Horn of Africa. And by horn, I mean 25-inch black penis. And she's getting just railed out. And Xerxes is like, this is the most embarrassing thing in my entire life. I'm the king of the fucking world. The known world is here, but the known world knows that these black guys have, and my wife just went to him. And Xerxes is like, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm going to have a contest to find a hotter bitch because that disloyal bitch is now being spit roasted like a rotisserie, right? She's rotating around on North Africans. And Xerxes is like, this is so embarrassing. If this gets out, I have to have a better story. So it's a contest for the most beautiful women. He sends people everywhere. He's like, find the hottest bitches you can. They bring back Esther. They're like, Esther, don't tell them you're a Jew. Why? They have ovens. Oh, shit, I heard that story is bad. So she doesn't tell him she's a Jewess. She goes to the goddamn concubine thing. She wins the Miss America pageant. Xerxes is like, she's great, wonderful, very dark hair, not what I'm into. a little less European than I like, but she's got some good features. She's got some wonderful features, a little bit Yiddish for my taste. And she doesn't work on Saturdays, which means the grinding's a little lower. But I got to grab another one. I have plenty more where they came from. You know, the backups when the bleeding tent happens. And Esther becomes the number one hoe of Xerxes. The Bible's like, this is the greatest Jewish woman that's ever existed. The side hoe of Xerxes while his wife's getting fucked by black guys. And her uncle saves Xerxes from getting assassinated. But then some guy's like, hey, Xerxes, I'm your number one in command. What do you want me to do? He's like, I don't know, do whatever you want. He's like, I'm going to pass an edict, Xerxes. What's your edict? There's these Jews. Have you seen their houses and all their stuff? It's cool. I have this great edict. I'm going to pass an edict that says, kill whatever Jew you want. Go into his house and take his stuff because you just can. It's like, Xerxes like, why would you do this? Like, I don't understand how this advances the kingdom. He's like, you don't understand how to advance the kingdom? It's funny. This one guy's going to do it again several years from now. I think his name is Adolfo or whatever. He's got hair down to here like an emo band or whatever, this little mustache like he's a metal band that failed. And he can't grow a mullet or whatever. So that guy's going to do it again, but I'm going to do it first. I'm going to say, you just go kill all these guys. And you just get, if you kill them, you get to take all the stuff in their house, this is a great plan. And so Xerxes is like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. What I'm doing is banging this not Jewess named Esther. And so he's over there. This guy goes around killing all the Jews. He's about to kill Malachi. And then Esther's like, oh, hey, Xerxes, by the way, my husband, Malachi, he saved your life. You remember that guy? What would you do to the guy who's going to kill that guy? Who's going to hang him from this cool, like, giant gallows he built because they hang Jews because Emmett Till wasn't around yet. So, like, going to hang Malachi. And Xerxes is like, wait, so this guy's going to kill the guy who saved my life? So, yeah, what would you do to that guy? I'd kill him. Oh, you better go find that guy. So Xerxes storms out of the room. So then the guy who's going to kill Malachi is right there in the room with Esther. And he goes to plead to Esther. He's like, you got to talk to Xerxes. This is a very Jewish story, but you got to bear with me. He's like, you got to talk to Xerxes. You got to tell him. I didn't want to do this. Like, save me, save me. And as he's walking forward towards her to prostrate himself before the Jew lady that he would have killed her uncle or whatever, he trips on his robe and he stumbles and falls face first into her vagina. This is a Bible story, and I'm not joking about literally any of this. Falls face first into her vagina, and Xerxes walks back in. Remember, this guy just got cucked by the Northern Africans, all of them at the same time. And he's like, what the fuck? I'm gone for 10 seconds, and you are trying to bed my wife by shoving your face into her fucking vagina like a hockey mask. And he takes the guy and he hangs him from the gallows that Malachi was supposed to be hung from that this guy built. And it's the greatest Jewish story ever told. That's a real story. It's in the Bible. I don't remember why I got on this story, but I fucking love the book of Esther so much that I cannot stop talking about it. I cannot stop talking about the book of Esther because that is what happens. It's not a long book. Go check it out. Second greatest? Wait, you think the story of Jesus beats that story? I'm sorry, Jesus, take a back seat. You can ride in the limo. You don't have to drive it. You sound like an insane person. Read the Bible out loud and you will also sound like an insane person. It's great. I love that story. Anyway, that was about gun purchases being linked to credit cards in Colorado. This is my favorite part of YouTube streaming and Rumble streaming. It's like, how did you get on this tangent about Esther and Xerxes or whatever? Was she really spinning around on a rotisserie like two black Africans? Yeah, I guess. How'd you get on there? Well, Colorado implemented some laws where credit card companies have to put special codes on the purchase of guns so the government and private entities can track gun purchases that are done by credit card. That's how we got on the fact that Xerxes, the giantest cuck in the entire history of humanity, killed the guy who was going to kill the guy who saved him. Xerxes never really figured out that Esther was a Jew until way later. I love that story. Oh my God, go read it, please. Let's hit some of these super chats. I think I have other things. Does it matter? Does it matter? It's Friday. We get to celebrate the end of the week. And we get to celebrate the Jewish. Oh, wait. I know the other reason I brought up that story. It's so funny. Someone was talking about, it was House Bill 6090 or whatever, the best graphics card ever, about like not being able to talk about the Jews. And the meme is like, if you tell the story of the Jews selling Jesus to Pontius Pilate and saying, kill this motherfucker and send me the serial killer Barabbas or whatever, that would be anti-Semitic. And I don't understand why the Jews telling the Romans to kill Jesus for literally no reason, because Pilate couldn't find him guilty of anything, and saying, actually, no, give us the strangler rapist Barabbas instead of Jesus and kill this guy instead. Like, why is that anti-Semitic? Why would it be anti-Semitic to suggest that the Jewish elders and the leaders in, what was that town? It came down from Mount Olive, goes in, was it Nazareth or whatever? It wasn't Nazareth. It was somewhere else. But he like rides down on a donkey because that's gay. He rides down in, he gets the Palm Sunday thing. And then like a week later, they're like, oh yeah, no, actually here, Romans, will you please crucify this fucking guy because he's an asshole? And they're like, and Pilate's like, what's his crimes? And they're like, oh God, look at him. He's like tall or whatever, and he's got hair and shirtless. I'm sure he's got a robe and he walks around in sandals. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he criticizes or whatever. And Pilate's like, I don't want to kill this guy. And they're like, well, give us somebody else. Like, I'll take Barabbas and you can just kill this guy. And Pilate's like, you know what? A Jew's a Jew. And so he goes to kill Jesus because the Romans were like that. Like, let's not forget the Romans are funny here too. It's like, well, I don't want to kill I'm going to kill a Jew. So you got to, if I'm going to kill Jesus, you got to have me not kill a different Jew that I was going to kill. That's what everybody gives Pilate a pass here. He's like, oh, he washed his hands of it. Pilate, he's like, I don't want to kill this one. But you like wanted to kill another one until they gave you a replacement Jew. That's like turning Barabbas in for warranty parts and getting Jesus on the crucifixion. That's not better, Pilate. But they're like, it was the Jews who did it. Well, I mean, the Jews did do it. Like, they're like, no, we want the murder rapist, not the king of us. Like, that guy sucks. Put him on the cross instead. And then he's like, well, look, Jew's a Jew, even fair trade. Is it a barter economy on executions in Rome going on these days? Like, I don't understand how that works, but Pilate justified it. And he said, no, he's like, no, I'm a good governor. So he does. He's like, well, I'll send this one away. I'll take this other Jew. I don't care what their names are. Put him on the cross, and we'll call him the king of the Jews. That's even funnier. It's a better kill than the guy who like strangles Jew women. Like, we'll put the king of the Jews up there. And Pilate's like, yeah, fine, whatever. And the other Jews are like, yeah, this is great. Yeah, kill that guy. Why? I don't know. Torture him first, though. Put a crown of like shit on his head, like pokey shit. Not like gross shit. That's nasty. We're not into that. That's not kosher. But put a stabby shit on his head. That's fine. I'll poke him with a spear or whatever. Break his knees and shit. You make it the worst kind of execution for no reason that anybody can discern while reading the Passion. Like, Pilate's like, I can find no fault in this man. They're like, yeah, give us Barabbas and kill this guy instead. He's like, okay, fair trade. And then he's like, oh, not only crucify him, but crucify him worse than everybody else. And you're like, this N-word Pilate. That's a cold motherfucker. That's a cold ass honky, right? Like, you're like, damn, how Greek are you? Well, he wasn't Greek. He wasn't sweating at the time. He's Roman. So he's Italian. This fucking pepperoni is here, putting Jesus on a cross like nastily. And we're like, oh no, this Pilate guy is fine. It's just the Jews who are the problem. But the Jews were the problem though. Because like they brought Jesus and he was faultless before them. I was out of liquor. Do you guys ever, I know this is a side tangent. Nick, your glass is empty. Yes, I just noticed when I tried to drink it. This is a side tangent, but seriously, do you guys ever read some of these books classic stories. The Bible's ripe with classic stories, obviously. And you go, you know what? I remember being young and going, this makes sense. But then you're old. And you're like, hold on. Give me a second. Pilate did what now? Pilate did what now? What's wrong with him? Nothing. Well, I can't kill this guy. Well, give us the other guy and kill this guy and said, all right. Oh, when we kill him, we're going to do the worst thing possible to him. Like worse than the other stuff we do. You're like, why is that? Why did that happen? And why are we like, yeah, it's the Jews, not Pilate? Look, all I'm saying is Jews who killed Jesus are bad, but so are Romans, which are Italians. But here's the deal. They've passed anti-Semitism bills in the House. It's H.R. 1690, right? H.R. 1690. And we see the criminalization of quote-unquote anti-Semitism being passed around like Esther and the fucking harem. Not good. Not good at all. So we go, what the fuck's happening here? Because why can't we anti-Semitic? I don't want to be anti-Semitic. I mean, it might happen to be from time to time, but I'm not trying. Like, I like Jews as much as the next Pilate. So we have H.R. 1690, an act to provide for the consideration of a definition of anti-Semitism set forth by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. Oh, well, that's going to be the best definition, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. Hey, I hope you guys know. I hope you guys know that the Holocaust happened. There's an alliance to help you remembrance the Holocaust in case you forgot. Now, I know it's easy to forget the Holocaust. I know, because like you're never told about it. You have no idea like what happened. You're like, what Holocaust? I don't know what a Holocaust. I have no idea. But the Holocaust, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, they're there to help you out for the enforcement of federal anti-discrimination laws concerning education programs or activities and for other purposes. So here we go. Short title. This act may be cited as Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023. That's AAA. Sense of Congress. Congress does not have common sense. They have sense that is all too uncommon. It is the sense of Congress that Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This is the Martin Luther King, the Black People Act. Prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. Okay, cool. But Jews aren't a race, a color, or national origin necessarily, right? Jews are a religion. Now you can say ethnic Jews, but that's ethnic Jews. That would be race. Color, I'm not sure what color Jews are under the law. And national origin, not all Jews are from Israel. But we can name 120 countries we're not from. While such title does not cover discrimination based solely on religion. And we have to ask why. Why doesn't the Civil Rights Act prohibit discrimination based solely on religion? It's kind of crazy. Individuals who face discrimination based on actual or perceived shared ancestry or ethnic characteristics do not lose protection under such title for also being members of a group that share a common religion. Okay, so if they're perceived as ethnic Jews, they are ethnic Jews, I guess, because they're religious Jews. Discrimination against Jews. It says Jew. Why does it say Jews? I always feel like Jews is kind of a dirty word. Like it's an offensive word. Like it's like should we say Jewish people or whatever in Congress? Not at the falafel house. May give rise to a violation of such title when the discrimination is based on race, color, or national origin. which can include discrimination based on actual or perceived shared ancestry or ethnic character. Yes! Yes! Oh, fuck you, bitches. I'm so happy. Oh my God. I support this law unequivocally. My fullest circumcised support for this law. Fuck you all. This law needs to pass. Actual or perceived shared ancestry or ethnic characteristics. Hey, Nikki Rackets, are you a Jew? Yes. Yes, I am. From now on, I am eating nothing but unleavened bread. Unleavened bread. Hell yeah. Fuck you guys. Call me a Jew one more time. I'm going to federal government your ass. Oh, yeah. Woo! I'm going to perm my hair and dye it blacker just so I can be even more Jewish. I'm going to get rhinoplasty to bring this bump to here, baby. You are going to get Jewed into oblivion, motherfuckers. I want the federal government to pass this so bad. I've got a bone to pick with everybody in chat. All of y'all. Don't throw leavened bread at me. It is a policy of the United States to enforce such title against prohibited forms of discrimination rooted in anti-Semitism as vigorously as against all other forms of discrimination prohibited by such title. Wait a minute. This lowers the standard because enforcement against anti-Semitism is higher than all other forms of discrimination. Is whistle pig kosher? Yes. It's not from a pig. It's from a pig's urine. Rob Price, I owe you $100. Why do I owe you $100? As noted in the U.S. National Strategy to Counter Anti-Semitism issued by the White House on May 25th, 2023, there's a U.S. National Strategy to Counter Anti-Semitism. Why? Okay, real talk. Why? Why is there? To me, we have a problem, right? This looks like a violation of the Establishment Clause. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. Now, of course, Judaism is a religion. I have to sneeze. It's not coming out. Oh my God. So Judaism is a religion, right? But the Jewish people are not all necessarily Jewish religiously. However, doesn't this respect the establishment of a national religion effectively? We're going to say the government is specifically single out Judaism. I know it's the ethnic version of Judaism, but the presumption is that ethnic Jews are also Jewish. Alex Sargent says the sneeze didn't come out. Your nose isn't big enough. We need more interest on this nose. So here we go. It is critical to increase awareness and understanding of anti-Semitism, including its threat to America. Let me say this openly, and this is a weird thing to say. I don't want to be like one of those fucking right-wing grifters who's like, I'm going to say the riskiest thing you can say on television. But you guys tell me, is it risky to say this? Anti-Semitism is a 0% threat to America. 0. Anti-Semitism is not a threat to America at all. None. 0% threat to America. Increase awareness and understanding of anti-Semitism, including its threat to America. Anti-Semitism in no way threatens America. I feel like, look, I like Jews. I like them. I like the Jewish people. I like Jews. I'm really mad at Jesus sometimes, and I want to kill him too. But like, I like Jews. Whoa! I'm sorry, I just blew a fucking hurricane across Kuwait. Anti-Semitism is 0 threat to America. Why are we talking about this as if it's a threat? Oh my God, my sneezes come in Jewish threes, which is actually eights, which is nines. You owe me 10. Oh my God. Improve safety and security for Jewish communities. Wait, how do you have Jewish communities in America? I thought we didn't do that. Reverse the normalization of anti-Semitism and counter anti-Semitic discrimination. Oh my God, the sneezes. God is punishing me with sneezes. Nose tickles. My nose is tickling. The entire state of Israel is thinking of me right now. Holy shit. The Jewish weather controller is happening. And expand communication and collaboration between communities, whatever that means. First of all, is anti-Semitism being normalized? What does normalization of anti-Semitism even mean? What is it? How do you normalize anti-Semitism? If there's anti-Semitism that is so prevalent that they need a law about it, I think it was already normalized, right? I realized something I need to do. We need to do the super chats. We need to do the Rumble flip. We'll get to Rumble. We'll continue talking about Jews. We'll talk about other stuff. This is actually wildly interesting to me because I'm looking at this thing going, there are problems with this. You cannot do this. One, like everybody's focusing on, well, this violates free speech. I'm like, this is respecting the establishment of a religion. This is to take anti-Semitism off the table and root Judaism in American culture as a protected superseding class. Century Bro with a huge chat on YouTube. Nick, I had to put my dog, who was my best buddy for 11 years, down. I held him as he was brought into this world, and I held him as he left. Would you be willing to say a few words? If not, I get it. Of course. Century Bro. Let me do this. I've been drinking this Woodford, which I'll do the whiskey review of after I get back from the bathroom after the Rumble flip, right? It's a special Woodford Reserve. It's not the normal one. It's a Master Series. I've never seen it before. However, today for this one, I've got like a third of a shot of King's Crest 25-year Scotch whiskey. This was given to me by a friend when I was in Nashville. And I think it's appropriate right now because it's it's a special Scotch. I've never seen it around here. Alex Sargent says, quote, "It is alcohol. It gets you drunk. It's good." No, we got a little bit more than that. So here we go. To Century Bro. I has to put down his dog, best buddy for 11 years. Let me relate to you for just a second. Lady Rackets and I had a cat. We couldn't take care of the cat anymore when we moved. We had other cats. We had other animals. And my mom really liked the cat. So she took the cat. This is years and years and years ago. She took the cat and they moved to Florida and the cat went with them. Today, the cat was euthanized. My dad sent my wife and I a picture of the cat's last picture, the moments before it was euthanized. And I was like, Dad, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want that sent to me. So, dude, it was a good cat. Fuck, 15 years, something like that old. I get it. Even though it wasn't my cat anymore, my parents' cat, every time I went to their house, I saw the cat. We remember taking care of that cat when it was young. Doesn't matter. Your dog, your best buddy for 11 years, you had to put him down. You held him as he was brought into this world. You held him as he was taken out. Oh, man, I have to say a few words. I don't have to say any words for you, brother. That dog was home. It was already home. I've said a sappy line several times. And it's cheesy, it's cheap, but it draws a couple tears. maybe gives me another toast super chat. So I do it as a salesman. I say, look, that dog went to sleep looking at you, hoping it would see you when it wakes up. Right? This dog didn't go to sleep hoping it would see you when it woke up. This dog came into the world in your arms, your hands, your support, your security. This dog left the world in your support, your security. It didn't go to sleep hoping it would see you. This dog left its existence knowing that it was right where it belonged the entire time. That dog knew its place from birth to death, man. You gave it that. From day one to day final, you provided that dog everything it ever needed. Companionship, security, food, support, love, care, shelter, everything. And when it went to sleep, it didn't need to wake back up and see you because its security has never been in doubt, never been in question. You didn't have to win its loyalty. You owned it from the moment it came into the world. And you gave its ownership back the day it left. The dog never had to doubt. Cheers to you, brother. Cheers to your loss. Remember that you treated that dog well. That dog will never, ever have wanted in this life. All right, here we go. Mitchell Blacks is off topic as hell. But do you ever plan on moving back to Texas from Minnesota or going to another state entirely? I would like to, but the practicality of doing it while my kids are kids is low. I hate Minnesota. I want to move. I want to move somewhere warmer, lower taxes. That's my goal. However, my kids have a severe support network here. All their friends are here. Everybody they know is here. And I remember what it felt like when I moved away from mine. Theirs is even stronger. I don't want to do that to them. I don't want to traumatize them in that way. When my kids all move out, maybe. Or the majority of them, maybe. Fletcher Boy, welcome to Paralegal Status. Mitchell Black says, Nick, take your Ritalin. I don't take Ritalin. It's bad on my cardiovascular system. I sometimes take Provigil, but not usually on shows. Daytime trial shows, sometimes. Aaron Imholt, surviving T cells. Holy shit. He says, how do you reconcile your desire to kill Maps yet have such an affinity for Lester's plight in American Beauty? So here's the thing. Lester doesn't end up fucking the girl in American Beauty. He thinks that she's a whore, that she can be used as a sex toy, that she can be an object of desire and affection. But when he starts to move on her, she's not. There's a critical thing, though. What is the age of Misha Barton's character in American Beauty? Let's see. American Beauty. Misha Barton. Her character is damn it. Misha Barton, I think is her. That's her name, right? Am I stupid? Wait. Damn it. Oh, Mina Savari. Sorry. Not Misha Barton. I was thinking of a hotter chick than Mina Savari. Mina Savari. Okay, her character. Oh, God. Yeah, she's way ugly here. So her, damn it. Mina Savari's character. She felt uncomfortable with Kevin Spacey. Why? You were not an underage boy. Angela Hayes. Hold on. Angela Hayes in American Beauty. Let's see if we have this. So they're ambiguous on her age in the movie. They don't ever say it. They just say she's a high school student. I think she's a high school senior. Let me see if I can find this shit. Oh my God. Angela Hayes, American Beauty. Fuck. How do I find this fucking thing? Let's see. Age. Maybe that'll work. The actress was 19 years old when she was cast as cheerleader Angela Hayes in Sam Mendes' Oscar-winning drama, Spacey playing Lester Burnham, man having a midlife crisis who becomes infatuated with her. She's 17-year-old friend of Kevin Spacey's daughter. Oh, here's the thing. Actress was 19 while filming American Beauty, acting as a 17-year-old. First of all, wait, what state does American Beauty happen in? Because we have the fucking map, right? American Beauty. God damn. It was filmed in California. He's an executive in suburbia. Here's the okay, well, screw trying to like defend it logically. We'll just go ahead and do this simply. Lester Barnum doesn't actually transgress. I mean, as far he acts inappropriately with her 100%. Even if she's 18, his actions are inappropriate, right? Here we go. That's not it. Lester Barnum is representing the freedom. He's a midlife crisis. He's the freedom of a man who's decided he no longer has to prostrate himself to something else. He is the guy who has given up everything about being himself, about being a man, from the time he effectively, not when he became married, but when he became 18, he gets married, he has a child, and he gives up more and more of himself as he goes. And then at one point he decides, no, you know what? Fuck you. Everybody here is fucking me. Now I say fuck you. He goes and does all these things. Mina Suvari, is that her? Fucking hell. Angela Hayes, Mina Suvari plays this character who presents herself as effectively a whore, who's a used up high school slut. Lester Barnum's attracted to her, and he goes after her. He finds out that she's actually a virgin, and he stops the transgression at that moment. But it's already done. That's what kills him, actually. What kills him is his transgression on Mina Suvari. Everything else Lester Barnum does throughout the movie does not result in the punishment of death. What it is he transgresses inappropriately against his daughter's friend. He's attracted to her. He acts on that attraction. He does all of these things. That's what kills him. And this is a common theme in movies. You'll have a hero or an anti-hero who goes through the plot, but at some point they transgress. Lester Barnum transgresses against this unapproachable, untouchable woman. And at that point, he's done. Game over. He gets shot by the Nazi, right? It's all downhill from there. He doesn't actually do it, though. But the point of the movie is not that actually having sex with the minor is the problem. It's that his character's attraction to the minor, his inappropriate relationship with the minor, all of this leading up to it, you can't just stop and nix out the transgression. He does the thing before he does the thing. It's like the Sermon on the Mount. Yes, American Beauty is Jesus. Sermon on the Mount says it's not you murdering your brother. It's the act of hatred in your brother that manifests murder in your mind. That is the same as killing him. And that is where the hero, anti-hero, whatever you want to call Kevin Spacey in the film, he gets punished. Every other thing he does up to that point is freedom. His wife's a monster who cheats on him. She treats him like garbage. His boss is extortative. steals money from the company, covers up the extortion. And then Kevin Spacey effectively says, look, I've got all the information. I'll talk. He tries to reconnect with his daughter, who's failed at connecting forever because of his oppressive wife, because of his oppressive job, because of his failures. Everything Kevin Spacey does is redemptive, except the inappropriate relationship with the high school cheerleader that he never actually consummates. He never gets his dick wet. Because the moment he finds out that she was a virgin, he goes, "Oh, I thought you were a whore." And that act alone results in that day his death. Everything else up to that point is freedom. It's his liberation from his shackles. But the shackles become the guillotine the moment he goes too far. That is the fucking critical message for Lester Barnum and everybody else, is that pure freedom doesn't exist in this world. For the people who find freedom, you can never find pure freedom. You have to have restrictions. You have to have limits. If you let yourself go into harm, into the transgression of destroying innocence, of destroying youth, of destroying that purity that you're searching for in yourself, then you lose. Everything else he does is okay. His boss is extortative. He extorts him. His wife doesn't respect him. He openly disrespects her. So I can do whatever he wants. Does he cheat on her? No, he never does. She cheats on him. She gets fucked by the real estate king in one of the funniest scenes ever, because her legs are on the fucking headboard of the bed while her head is getting banged into it. And the guy's going, "You want to fuck the king? You want to fuck the king? You want to fuck the king?" His wife, Carol, he tries to get back with her. That's the best scene in the movie, in my opinion. He's got the beer in his hand. He says, "What happened to you? I remember that girl, that college girl. We would go up. We'd hear the helicopters. She'd go up. She'd climb out on the roof. She'd pull her shirt off and hope the helicopters would shine the light on her. What happened to her?" And he's getting closer and closer. He's got the beer in his hand. He's a little bit drunk, moving in for a kiss. She's backing up. But her fucking skirt is soaked, right? Like, she is flooding at this approach of him. She's never seen Kevin Spacey like this in years and years and years. He's getting closer. He's reminding her of who she is, of who he is, of what made them meet. And then she looks at the beer. She looks at the beer in his hand because it's tilting. And she goes, "You're going to spill your beer on your couch." The Italian leather $4,000 sofa, right? This is just a fucking couch. He throws the goddamn beer. She doesn't redeem herself. He has a chance. The whole theme is that she's gone. She's left him. All she cares about is herself, her actions, her ability to promote herself. And she cheats on him because she doesn't respect him. He's a pile of garbage. He's jerking off in the shower. The best part of his day happens at 8:30 in the morning while he's jerking off in the shower. When he tries jerking off in the bed, she's like, "Oh, you're the only one who's sexually frustrated." He's like, "My dick is hard, bitch. Let's go." And she's like, "No, fuck you." She respects him zero. So he's like, "Fine, I'm going to improve myself. I'm going to smoke weed, I guess." He's going to lift weights. He's going to fucking tongue kiss a Nazi, which is weird. But she goes and fucks the real estate king. She doesn't redeem herself. Everything he does is reflective of what people do to him, and overcoming that and becoming the guy he wants to be, until he goes too far. He goes, he says he's attracted to a fucking high schooler, his daughter's friend. He tries to have sex with her because he thinks she's a whore. He projects onto her the projection she puts out into the world, but it wasn't real. He transgresses. That's when he dies. Everything else is fine in the movie. Everything else is redemptive. Everything else is restorative and liberating. And then he goes too far because pure freedom can't exist. Pure freedom creates harm when you go across certain boundaries. Lester Barnum tried to fuck a kid. He stopped himself. It's too late, buddy. Sorry, you get the gallows with Malachi, with the guy who tried to kill Malachi. Hatchet Mouse says, "How does it feel to be a home wrecker?" Oh, baby, how many homes have I wrecked? The answer is always not enough. Women have been home wrecking for years. Oh my God, guys, wait, how many homes have I wrecked? I'm representing out here. I'll home wreck everything. Anyway, how do you reconcile your desire to kill Maps yet you have such an affinity for Lester's plight in American Beauty? I have an affinity for Lester's plight up until he transgresses too far. I pointed this out last time I watched it. Every time I watch it, I go, yeah, he goes too far. He goes after his daughter. She can be 17, she can be 18. Doesn't matter what state they're in. Doesn't matter if there's age of consent or whatever. Relationship is inappropriate. He goes to corrupt the thing that he assumes is corrupted. But it was actually innocent. It was just lying. The corruption of the innocent is the transgression. He fails, he dies, period. Everything else is fine. I don't have to reconcile that at all. J-Rock, no I'm saying, says, nice hand movements. Shout out Ceiling Cats. You know, the cool part about being in the country is when you find a stray cat, you just staple it to your ceiling. You got Ceiling Cats. That's it. Hatchet Mouse says, haha, good response. Yeah, buddy. I'll wreck your home too. You know how I'll wreck it? I'll bring you our sponsor today. Alman John 1 says, Nick said the F word on YouTube. What, faggot? Slosher says, put on one of the holy hats if you're going to teach the Bible. No way. Alex Sargent says, holy shit, haven't seen you in a while. YouTube decided I wasn't allowed to see any of your stuff. Yeah, of course. The problem is I started doing the Rumble flip. When you used to do a 3-4 hour show on YouTube and you started doing a 1 hour show that flips to their competitor, somehow you fall off the algorithm. Sandra D says, here, just for the Bible story, love it. I'm going to read the book of Esther on, I think that might be my introductory Bible or faith exploration story on Locals. The Gym Tyrant says, I thought it was Peter. I'm a bad Christmas. That's true. Lord of the Kingdom says, does your ceiling cat have a name? I call mine April. Look, my ceiling cat does have a name. It's Ninja. Because you can't say nigga on YouTube. And I staple the ninjas to the ceiling. Because when they stop working in the field, these ninjas need to be stapled to the ceiling. But you got to check on them from time to time. Maybe you got to give him some peanuts and ask him to invent stuff because ninjas be good at inventing shit with peanuts. Why would you do anything else? Look. See, guys, if my ceiling, you know what my ceiling has? If you follow me on Locals, you would actually know. It has an unfinished ceiling here in the vault. It's got some good insulation. It's got the fucking rafter running boards, and it's got neon lights. A finished ceiling in this gun safe would actually have drywall, probably some soundproofing, because right above it is my 4-season porch, otherwise known as a sunroom or hot floor room. And if someone was up there right now and I started yelling into the microphone, they'd actually hear me. And that's kind of a problem. I don't want them to do that. I want soundproofing. I want what I say in this room to remain in this room. Like when Congress propositions underage children in Colombia because Congress people are pedophiles. All of them. Like when they do that, like I want soundproofing in here, but it was never done. This ceiling was never finished by the prior owner. So I have this unfinished ceiling. I don't have cats up there, but if I did, it'd be way better. Because we're talking about ceiling cats. It's not a ceiling cat. I'm looking for God in the midst of intoxication. I'm like, if this was an acid trip, I would see you. Can you show up, you motherfucker, while drunk? Hopefully Nick hasn't wrecked his own home. Oh my God, buddy. If you're a husband and a father who hasn't wrecked their own home 1,000,000 times, are you even husbanding and fathering? Do you know how to do like a relationship in life? Relationships are not about a perfect harmony and unison of two people or more. It is about the melding of divergent ideas into one cohesive thing, but that involves pain, that involves argument, it involves disagreement and suffering, it involves compromise, it involves working together. Everybody's like, oh yeah, great relationships, they don't have Wait, you don't have fights? You have to fight. You will fight. Fight for yourself. Fight for who you are. Fight for what you believe. Your spouse, your partner respects who you are. They married the person that you are. Your children grew up knowing the person that you are, and your spouse, by the way. And you need to respect your spouse because you married them too. You watched them grow and become what they are as well. So if you aren't going to fight for you and you aren't going to fight for them and you aren't going to fight for the right thing when your children or your spouse are retardedly wrong, what kind of person are you? If you're a man and a husband in a relationship, you go, oh, I don't want to fight with my wife, so I won't stand up for what's important. How can you be, quote unquote, the head of your household, as Jesse Lee Peterson would say? He's right, though. Are you the head of your wife? Are you the head of your family? Are you the spiritual leader? Are you the physical leader? Oh my God, have you wrecked your home? Yeah, every leader of their household, every good husband has wrecked their home 1,000,000 times. Of course they have. Because sometimes the other partner needs to be shown what's right. Guess what? Your partner's done it too. Because sometimes you're fucking retarded and they wreck your shit. Your kids are always retarded. The worst part is when you find out your kids are smarter than you. You're like, oh, they're retarded. You're like, oh, wait, no, actually, they're a better person than me because they listened. I didn't think they were, but they did. It's the worst and best feeling ever. How many have you? Don't wreck your own home. No, do wreck your own home. Just have a relationship that survives the wreckage and becomes better. Because if you're not in conflict ever, if you're not treating each other as if the person who did the thing to you deserves a little bit of deference for the harm they did, then you don't have a relationship. People think you don't harm another person, they don't harm you as a relationship. No, that's a fantasy. Harming each other is part of the fucking gig. Let's do these. What do we got? Alex Sargent says, it was beyond falling off the algorithm. I have notifications and everything on. This is the first time in months I've been shown a live from you. Yeah, no, I know. YouTube, she fucking hates me. Wait, Timcast IRL says, would you rather run into a black crackhead in a tank top holding a 9mm or a bear? Wait, a bear is a fat, hairy white guy that wants to have sex with me? Black guy holding a 9mm. I can assume he stole it and probably doesn't know how to use it. John Winston, speaking of ninjas, Drex been off YouTube for a while. Yes, Drex has been very busy. I talked to him the other day. He says he wants to come hang out. We'll do a show when he does. Look, school year, Drex and I's schedules don't tend to mesh up. His daughter and my kids have very, very different schedules on the weekends. It sucks. We don't see each other much during the school year. School year is about to be over. Hopefully, we'll get Drex on the show very soon. Ellie Fan says, Nick, can I get a toast? I guess. Over 16 years ago, I met my soulmate. What even is a soulmate, Ellie? Happy 12th wedding anniversary. May the 4th be with you, you nerd. I hate Star Wars. You know that, Ellie. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. But it cheers to you and your nerdy husband. 16 years of meeting, 12 years of marriage. Oh, you're catching up to me in my 19 and a half. Look, I hope for only more years of marriage, more years of solace, more years of companionship and growth for you and your husband. Cheers to you. Even though you sometimes are a bitch and say I'm not texting, you bitch. All right, with that, YouTube is over. We've got some Rumble rants to go through when we get back or when we flip over. And then we'll do the Rumble. Then we'll do a brief break and we'll come back and do more. Look, guys, I love you. I hope you like the show. Look, I know it's unorthodox. I know I'm sitting here talking about the Bible. I know I'm talking about American Beauty. It's Friday. What the fuck else do you want to talk about? Like, seriously, what do you want to talk about? I don't know. What do people want to talk about on a Friday? All I want to do on a Friday is fuck the fuck off from everything I did during the week. When we get back, we'll get back into the stories that I have skipped. I didn't mean to skip them for so long. But we'll see you there. If you want to join us on Rumble, follow the link in the chat, follow the link in the description, and come with us. Don't come before or after us. Only come with us, and you'll enjoy it. If not, click the like button. Well, if not, or if so, click the like button on the way out of YouTube. Also, Rumble Lights, click the like button on Rumble, the thumbs up. That goes in your butthole. And I appreciate it. It helps out. We'll see you guys soon. It's Friday. I am going to try and do some local shows over the weekend. We'll see how that works out. But I said locals. Streams coming starting May 1st. It's now May 3rd. Well, it's technically May 4th. We'll have probably one at least today, and then we'll keep going on those. Catch you guys later. Have a good night. Peace. Follow me to Rumble, and we'll see you there.